Hey everyone, welcome to the Ottawa Herald podcast. I'm your host, John Jared Hawks, and for this episode of the podcast, I have a conversation with Dr. Ryan Cobbs. Cobbs began as a math teacher in the Ottawa School District years ago and has recently been confirmed as superintendent for the district. Check out the description below for our conversation topics. Thank you for listening, and let's get started. My first question for Cobbs was about his history in the Ottawa School District.
This is my 18th year as an educator in USD 290. Prior to that, I was a student here, so add the 12 years of education that I had from first grade to high school, and graduated from Ottawa High School in 1995, and then the 18 years that I've been a teacher here, and we're talking about 75% of my life has somehow been involved in USD 290 schools. But again, 18 years in the district as an educator, 4 years as a teacher at Ottawa High School. I taught math at OHS. Became the assistant principal there for 6 years, and then the high school principal for 4 years. And this is my second year as the assistant superintendent, and ultimately take over the new role as the superintendent in July.
And what drew you into the education field, and specifically Ottawa School District?
Well, when I was in high school, I think I kind of had aspirations that a lot of our kids do, and part of that really focused on getting out of Ottawa and going to a big city and being a part of the big lights and the big time and doing something great outside of here. And certainly I had the opportunity to do that. I was blessed with the opportunity to play professional baseball, and I moved to Europe for 2 years to do so in Antwerp, Belgium. And at age 21, I was thrust in the center of a 500,000 person city, and that didn't speak English, that I didn't understand the currency, I didn't understand the travel system, I couldn't even figure out how to buy groceries, and it really forced me to recognize what was important in my life, and part of that was family, and part of it was community, and part of it was a sense of belonging and a sense of commitment and purpose. And I remember at that point in time telling my mother, who had been an educator, that I wanted to be a teacher. I think I wanted to come home and I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to give back to our community. So when I got back from Europe, I went back to Ottawa University and finished up my teaching degree. My initial degree was in mathematics, so I went back and got my teacher licensure, and ultimately became a teacher, and had some great mentors along the way who talked to me a lot about the world of administration and propelled me into that role. And ultimately, here I am as the superintendent of USD 290.
So you'll take the helm of Ottawa Schools, as you said, in July of 2018. Are you bringing with you any shifts in priorities for the district as you step into this leadership role?
Well, I think the priority of our district has been clear, and the vision of our district for the last several years, as developed by our board and by our current superintendent, Dr. Stroh, is that all students, each and every student, graduates from Ottawa High School with the knowledge, skills, and behaviors to hold life-sustaining employment. I don't believe that vision changes. That's the direction of our district, and that's what we have to accomplish. But I think that there are some things that I have been working on as the assistant superintendent that certainly continue to go as we move forward, and those things have been deemed our priorities. And I think that's part of the reason why I earned the opportunity to do this job, is because of my background in those areas. One is certainly the Jim and I school redesign project, and the things that we've identified there as expectations for our district moving forward. But another is our work with our community and with our city and county on building the next labor force. And certainly I think that's a huge piece of what we have to accomplish as a school as we begin to look at the priorities of our community and opening up Proximity Park, and knowing that in order for us to be successful in developing Proximity Park, there has to be a workforce and a labor force ready to come into play with that park. And certainly Ottawa USD 290 is primed and poised to be able to provide that labor force. We have 160 students graduating every year. Not every one of those students is going off to college, which means that we can draw directly from that pool to continue to push that labor force for our expansion of industry here in our community. So that's a piece of it, and I think also the school redesign project is the major piece of what we want to accomplish moving forward.
Do you see any difficulties in transitioning into your role, or will, as you said, your prior knowledge of USD 290 make things easier?
Well, I think that my prior knowledge helps and creates some barriers for me. One, the relationships that I've already built with staff is certainly going to be a positive as we move forward, and our abilities to work together and to understand one another and know the direction and role that we play in the education of kids is certainly going to be a positive for us moving forward. My time here is also one of those things that creates some barriers, in that because I'm from here, there are already some things that people think they know about me, or that I think I know about them, and we're going to have to work hard to make sure that any preconceived ideas aren't what defines us in this role, and that we find a way to break through some of those barriers and ensure that we can all work together, that we understand what our vision is, and regardless of what stands in our way, we find a way to break through those barriers. So anytime you hire an internal candidate for anything, it comes with positives and negatives, and certainly I think our board determined that those positives outweigh any of the things that might be concerns for them. But being from Ottawa, understanding what makes our community great, understanding the people and their roles within the community that I can go to immediately when we need to work together to accomplish a greater goal. Certainly my learning curve is much less than anybody else's that would have come into a district, and I think that's certainly a positive. But I also know that as my roles have transitioned from teacher to assistant principal to assistant superintendent and now to superintendent, that each time that we have transitioned those roles, that there are some relationships that we have to build upon at each of those levels, and certainly that's going to take place here as well. So there's a lot of work to do in order to prepare for this position and make sure that we take care of everything that we need to take care of within our system. But I don't see those things as a negative. I see them as challenges that we can work forward and look forward to that challenge, as seeing all of the things that we can accomplish as we move forward.
So at this point in the interview, we delved into a lengthy discussion of USD 290's participation in the Gemini Project. If you'd like to read about what the Gemini Project is and how the Ottawa School District is incorporating the initiative into their educational practices, Herald senior writer Greg Mast wrote a story on it. Find that story on page 9 of today's Ottawa Herald. Also, you may have started to notice some slight distortion in the audio quality of the recording, and we apologize for that. We encountered some technical difficulties while taping, but we're confident that it'll be fixed by the next episode. All right, on with the interview. Well, shifting our conversation from education structure to infrastructure, from the outside, construction on the new additions to Ottawa High School's buildings seems to be going smoothly. Can you give us an update on
that? Yeah, the building at OHS is just phenomenal, and it's beautiful to walk in there and see it. They just finished, and we started moving teachers back into the 200 hallway, which is the middle hallway, just yesterday. So we'll see those teachers begin to come back to our building, which will save us a couple of things. One, we've got teachers out in the modulars as well as teachers out in the at middle school, and the number of students that we have maneuvering back and forth between buildings will certainly diminish now that hallway is opened back up. Even though we created pictures of what it was going to look like, I don't think anybody will recognize what it is. It is fabulous. It is beautiful. It is a great learning space for our kids, and they should be proud, and our community should be proud. It is second to none. And so as we open that up, the 200 hallway is complete, at least in terms of the classrooms that are there. The rest of the 200 hallway, including the library media center, looks like we'll come to completion sometime around spring break with it. The old science classrooms, which will now turn into art classrooms and food service area, will also be done around that time. So there's still some work to do within that 200 hallway, but the pieces that are complete are I think better than what we could have ever expected, and Lloyd Builders and DLR have both done an incredible job. Career and Tech Ed is the other piece that's currently under construction right now. The first portion of that, which is what they would consider area A, is almost done. That includes the culinary arts area as well as the health science area and 2 open classrooms that at this point in time, working with Neosho County, we're hoping that we can fill with a plumbing program and an electrician's program, but those things are still in the works. It should be done here shortly, and then they will utilize that area as kind of a laydown area to finish area B, which is the lab spaces, the old portion of Career and Tech Ed, and our early childhood programs. So even though they will be completed before the end of the year, probably sometime around late April, early May, we will not put kids in those areas until the beginning of school next year. We want to make sure that everything is right and done, and that everything is set up appropriately before we move back. And if we're only moving back for 2 weeks, then we certainly don't want to rush that process. We know that it'll be ready and available for kids at the beginning of next year. And it looks like we will have an open house as well as a groundbreaking open house for Career and Tech Ed, groundbreaking for Performing Arts Center, which will take place here in March. We'll have those 2 at the same time, probably sometime in April. So we can do groundbreaking for Career and Tech Ed for Performing Arts Center, and people can celebrate what we're doing for our fine arts programs, which is again going to be awesome, as well as get them in and see what we've done for Career and Tech Ed, which is awesome as well. And we'll open up the entire building. People can come through and they can take a look at the 200 hallway. If they haven't seen the science wing and the admin wing yet, they can take a look at that, and they can kind of get a glimpse of how the building is coming together and what it looks like. So a lot of great things happening. Over the summer, you'll see the renovation of the 300 hallway, which is the south hallway for our staff. We'll get those classrooms taken care of. We'll also see renovations to the cyclone room beginning, new roof finished up for the remainder of the building. And hopefully by the time we're all said and done by October or November of next year, we should have nearly everything in our building completed with the exception of the Performing Arts Center, which then should be done October or November of 2019. So exciting times for OHS. It's an incredible building. Our students should be very proud of what they're going to have available to them. Our teachers should be very proud. Our community should be very proud. It is a great building, and certainly it is one of those places that other schools are coming in and going, oh my God, look at this. This place is awesome. Mm-hmm. And certainly that was a piece of what we wanted, but what we really wanted was great learning spaces for our kids, and that is certainly taking place. So our community, again, has helped us provide not only Ottawa High School, but Sunflower Elementary, which is incredible in its own right and a great space for kids. But the renovations that we've been able to do to our other buildings, and our community has always been a supporter of education. Lincoln and Garfield, the building at Lincoln and the renovations at Garfield are only 10 years old, and yet we still believed that we needed more for our kids, and our community provided that for us, and certainly we at USD 290 appreciate that, and our students appreciate it, and we want to make sure that what we provide in terms of educating our kids is something that is looked at by our community as something that is first class, and something that they get excited about every day when they drive past our buildings and when they see our kids out in the community.
Well, Dr. Cobbs, we've been diving deep into some of these topics, and I'd like to zoom the conversation out for, as we wind down, a personal question for you. What is your vision for your time as superintendent of Ottawa School District?
Yeah, we started really 5 years ago pushing towards this notion of getting every student USD 290 to graduate. And when I started as the principal at Ottawa High School, the graduation rates were mired at 70%. And if you looked at the 10 years previous to that, they were 70, 72, 73, 70. We were stuck at 70%. Mm-hmm. We've implemented programs. We've changed philosophies of staff. We've motivated kids in different ways. And we've seen that graduation rate hit almost 87% last year. The 17% jump in 7 years is huge. It's just huge. But it's not good enough. And the vision that I have and what they put me in this position to do is to carry on that vision and make sure that we get to the point where our graduation rates are what they should be, that every kid, regardless of their socioeconomic class, regardless of their skill sets, regardless of their family life, regardless of any of the barriers that they may have in life, enroll in USD 290 schools and know that 13 years from their enrollment date in kindergarten, that they have a graduation date set for them, and they are going to be there, and they are going to be in their cap and gown, and they are going to earn that diploma from Ottawa High School. We want to develop pride in our kids. We want to develop pride in our community, and certainly passion for this community and for our district is something that I think I bring every day, and it's an expectation that I think our teachers have of me, that passion for educating kids never wanes, and that we are always pushing forward and we are always doing the things that we need to do. In the next 2 years, the vision and what is expected of me and what I want to accomplish lies a great deal with Jim and I. We didn't put these committees together, and we didn't ask these people to do this work to just say, oh, we tried something and let it go away. We put these things together because we wanted to impact education differently, and we wanted to provide an opportunity for every kid to be successful in our schools. And so it is my job, and it is incumbent upon me to ensure that we reach the goal with Jim and I. And when we reach the goal, we reassess our goals and we develop that goal a little bit further, so we always have something to strive for and always have something to push for. It is something that I put an expectation on myself in terms of what I want to accomplish. I want to continue our work with FCDC and with our community to ensure that USD 290 is one of the reasons why industry chooses Ottawa as a place to land, or Proximity Park as a place to land, that they know that they can count on us, that if they're a manufacturing company and we need to begin to teach a specific skill set to kids in order to fill those roles, the USD 290 is open to that, and we can find a way to create a partnership to guarantee that workforce is coming in. If it's just about learning soft skills and hard skills in order to be able to do it, then so be it. I want to make sure that we have some communications with staff to understand what their priorities for our education system are, what our community's priorities for education are. Those are the things that drive me, and those are my passions. And certainly Jim and I and workforce development is a big piece of that. But when you talk about the time in my life when I am no longer the superintendent at USD 290, and certainly that's going to happen at some point in time, whether it's through retirement or whether different opportunities, I want people to talk about the time that we had here as being the greatest shift in educational mindset that allowed students to accelerate, that allowed students to meet their goals, that allowed students to go further than they have ever been able to go in their time in USD 290, and that when people think of education, they think about what we've created here, not about 1950s picture of school with students in rows, but they think about Ottawa High School and Sunflower and Lincoln and Garfield as being a place where kids can learn, that they grow when they're there, and that the way that we do it has impacted them differently than the way that they've done it in the past. And that they associate those things not only with me, but with every member of USD 290 staff that is currently here and will currently work on this project in the future, and our community as a whole as being an embracer of education and one that really pushes it forward into the future.
Well, Dr. Cobbs, we certainly appreciate your time this morning. We know it's going to be in short supply over these next couple months as you transition into your new responsibilities. When responsibilities at USD 290 aren't taking up your time, what occupies your spare time?
My kids, for the most part. I have two kids that are very active, and one is super active and outdoors and loves to hunt and fish and be in the woods, and so we try to do that as much as possible when there is spare time. There's a great deal of stress that comes along with this position, and it's not that the position stresses you out, but there's always something. You could work 24 hours a day every day and still not get everything done that you need to get done, and so you have to find time to get away from it. And when I find that time to get away from it, I love to be outdoors, and I love to just do work, whether it's yard work or whether it's out with my kids and playing. My son Shelby, he loves to build things, so whether it's we're buying Legos and we're building Legos, or we're coming up with something different, or we're building something outdoors, it's fun to be with the kids, and it's fun to get time away where your mind can go away from that. With Abby and I, my wife Abby, we love music. We love to go to concerts. We love to do some of those things and just get away from this world for a little bit and do some different things. So we have our ways to relax, and we make sure that we do those things enough that we can stay grounded, and we can stay positive about what we're doing, and certainly stay motivated about what we're doing. But those are really the things that we love to do, and I look forward to doing them every day with my kids and with my wife.
Cool. Well, Dr. Ryan Cobbs, thank you so much for talking with us this morning.
Thank you. I enjoyed it, and love to do it again sometime.
All right, cool. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We hope you found this conversation valuable, and if you did, I recommend you check out our website at www.ottawaherald.com. We try to keep the latest and greatest happenings up there for you guys, our awesome readers and listeners. Thanks for your support, and thanks for listening to this episode of the Ottawa Herald podcast.